What if the tingling in your feet right now is not random, not temporary, but the early stage of something silently progressing inside you? What if the numbness you ignore at night, the slight burning in your hands, or that brief loss of balance is your body sending a warning you haven't taken seriously yet? Pause for a second. Where are you watching this video from, and what time is it right now in your country as you press play? Because at this exact moment, your nerves may already be changing. Many people discover too late that what they thought was just aging was actually neuropathy developing quietly. Don't assume it's not you. Watch carefully, this could be about your body. There is a powerful illusion that comes with aging, and it is the illusion that decline is inevitable. Many people accept discomfort as part of the contract of growing older. They assume that slower steps, unstable balance, and tingling nerves are simply the price of experience. But wisdom does not demand suffering, and experience does not require deterioration. Doctors around the world have long studied the nervous system, and what they continue to uncover is both concerning and empowering. They remind us that the human body is not designed to collapse quietly without reason. When nerves begin to weaken, when signals between the brain and the limbs start to falter, it is often not random. It is often the result of accumulation. Over years and decades, certain toxins can slowly build inside the body, silently interfering with the delicate communication lines that keep you walking steadily, gripping firmly, and feeling fully alive. This is not about fear. It is about awareness. The nervous system is like an intricate network of electrical wiring, carrying messages at incredible speed. Every step you take, every object you hold, every sensation you feel is the result of this hidden symphony of signals. But what happens when that wiring begins to corrode? What happens when the protective layers surrounding those nerves are weakened by substances you did not even realize were harmful? Many people are shocked to learn that some of the most damaging toxins are not exotic chemicals found in distant factories. They can be present in everyday environments, in processed foods, in long-term exposure to pollutants, in uncontrolled blood sugar levels, and even in habits that seemed harmless at first. The danger is not always dramatic. It is gradual. It is subtle. And because it is subtle, it is often ignored. This is where the real suspense lies. The body rarely screams at the beginning. It whispers. A slight tingling, a mild burning sensation, occasional numbness that comes and goes. You might shake your foot and wait for it to wake up. You might stretch your fingers and blame poor circulation. But beneath those minor annoyances, changes can be progressing quietly. Doctors explain that neuropathy does not appear overnight. It develops over time as nerves become damaged or deprived of proper nourishment. The tragedy is not that damage occurs. The tragedy is that people assume nothing can be done. Yet, the human body is remarkably resilient when given the right support. When toxins are reduced, when nutrition improves, when circulation is enhanced, and when lifestyle choices shift toward healing rather than harm, nerves can sometimes stabilize and even partially recover. This is where hope replaces fear. You are not powerless. You are not destined to lose sensation, balance, or independence simply because the calendar moves forward. But you must be willing to question assumptions. You must be willing to ask, what is really happening inside my body? The greatest transformation begins with awareness. When you understand that certain toxins can inflame and stress nerve tissues, you begin to see your daily choices differently. That extra processed snack is no longer just convenient, it becomes a potential contributor to inflammation. Ignoring blood sugar levels is no longer a small oversight, it becomes a long-term risk to nerve integrity. Remaining inactive is no longer harmless comfort. It becomes stagnation that reduces circulation and oxygen delivery to delicate tissues. Doctors often emphasize prevention because they understand something profound. Damage that accumulates slowly can often be slowed, halted, or reduced with early intervention. But intervention requires attention. It requires courage to face what you may have been ignoring. It requires discipline to make changes that may feel uncomfortable at first. Yet discomfort in growth is far less painful than regret in decline. Imagine walking confidently without fear of falling. Imagine feeling the ground beneath your feet clearly, gripping objects without hesitation, and trusting your body once again. That vision is not fantasy. It is a possibility that begins with knowledge. The body is not your enemy. It is your partner. And when it sends signals, even subtle ones, it deserves your respect. There is a moment in every health journey when awareness turns into urgency, and this is that moment. Once you realize that nerve damage is not merely an unavoidable companion of aging, but often the result of accumulated stress and toxins, you begin to see how silent habits shape loud consequences. The suspense deepens when you understand that the most dangerous toxin for your nerves may not announce itself dramatically. It does not knock on your door with warning signs. It integrates quietly into routines, into diets, into lifestyles that feel ordinary. For many adults over 50, one of the most overlooked contributors to neuropathy is prolonged exposure to uncontrolled blood sugar levels. Elevated glucose acts almost like a corrosive agent in the bloodstream, gradually damaging the tiny blood vessels that nourish nerves. Without proper blood flow, nerves become deprived of oxygen and nutrients, and over time they weaken. Doctors consistently highlight this connection because the evidence is clear. Metabolic imbalance can slowly sabotage the nervous system. Yet blood sugar is not the only suspect. Environmental pollutants, heavy metals, certain medications, chronic alcohol use, and long-term inflammatory diets also play roles. The danger lies not only in the toxin itself, but in duration. A single exposure may not cause visible harm, but years of subtle exposure create cumulative stress. Imagine a rope being rubbed against a rough surface every day. It does not snap immediately. It frays gradually until one day it can no longer hold weight. Your nerves respond in a similar way. They endure quietly until endurance becomes exhaustion. What makes this especially unsettling is that early symptoms are easy to dismiss. A little numbness in the toes after sitting too long. Occasional burning that fades by morning, slight imbalance blamed on fatigue. But what if these are early chapters of a larger story? What if the body has been signaling for attention long before severe pain or serious falls occur? Doctors often speak about the importance of listening to early warning signs because once nerve fibers are severely damaged, full recovery becomes more difficult. This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to awaken responsibility. There is something profoundly empowering about recognizing that prevention is still possible. You may not control every environmental toxin, but you can influence what enters your body daily. You can choose foods that reduce inflammation rather than amplify it. You can prioritize movement to improve circulation. You can monitor glucose levels if you are at risk. You can reduce alcohol intake and support liver function, which plays a key role in detoxification. These are not dramatic interventions. They are consistent disciplines, and consistency is more powerful than intensity. The middle of this journey is where doubt often appears. You might wonder whether small changes truly matter after decades of habits. You might question whether the damage has already been done. This is where philosophy meets medicine. The human body operates on principles of adaptation. When conditions improve, many systems attempt to repair. Nerves are delicate, but they are not lifeless wires. They are living tissues capable of responding to improved nutrition and reduced stress. Doctors frequently emphasize antioxidants, B vitamins, and proper hydration because these elements support nerve integrity. But beyond nutrients, mindset matters. Chronic stress increases inflammation and hormonal imbalance, indirectly affecting nerve health. Living in constant anxiety about symptoms can amplify perception of pain. Calm awareness, on the other hand, supports healing environments within the body. The suspense continues because neuropathy does not always progress in predictable ways. Some people experience mild tingling for years without worsening, while others see rapid progression when underlying causes remain unmanaged. The difference often lies in intervention timing. This is why education is critical. When you understand the potential toxin and its pathway of damage, you move from passive observer to active participant in your own health. You begin to see that every meal, every step taken, every medical checkup is not a routine action, but an investment. Aging then becomes less about decline and more about stewardship. Stewardship of your nerves, your circulation, your metabolism, and your habits. It is easy to believe that major health transformations require extreme measures. In reality, many improvements begin quietly. Replacing processed sugars with whole foods, drinking more water, engaging in gentle strength training to improve muscle support and balance, consulting a doctor early when symptoms appear rather than waiting for them to intensify. These actions create momentum, and momentum creates change. The body responds to patterns. If the pattern has been toxic exposure and neglect, the result is deterioration. If the pattern shifts toward nourishment and awareness, the result can be stabilization and sometimes improvement. This is not false hope, it is biological logic. Your nervous system has carried you through decades of life, through work, family, stress, and joy. It deserves protection now more than ever. The most dangerous toxin is not only a chemical substance, it is prolonged indifference. When awareness replaces indifference, transformation begins. There comes a powerful turning point when fear transforms into responsibility, and responsibility transforms into strength. By now you understand that nerve damage is not a random curse of aging, but often the result of silent accumulation, subtle toxins, and overlooked habits. Yet knowledge alone is not enough. What truly changes a life is the decision to act with intention. The nervous system is not simply a network of signals, it is the foundation of independence. It allows you to walk without fear, to feel the warmth of a loved one's hand, to maintain balance when climbing stairs, and to move through the world with confidence. When that system weakens, it is not just sensation that fades, it is freedom. And that is why this subject matters so deeply. Doctors frequently remind patients that the body reflects long-term patterns. Years of unmanaged blood sugar, chronic inflammation, nutritional deficiencies, and environmental stress do not disappear overnight. But they also emphasize something equally important. The body can respond positively when given consistent support. The suspense that once surrounded hidden toxins now becomes clarity. You see how daily choices compound, either toward deterioration or toward renewal. The smallest actions repeated consistently hold extraordinary power. Hydration supports circulation. Balanced nutrition stabilizes metabolism. Movement stimulates nerve pathways. Sleep restores cellular repair. These are not dramatic secrets. They are disciplined fundamentals. Yet in a world obsessed with quick fixes, fundamentals are often ignored. Many people search for miracle cures while neglecting foundational care. But the nervous system thrives not on extremes, but on balance. Imagine looking back 5 years from now. Imagine two different paths. In one path, symptoms were dismissed, habits remained unchanged, and nerve damage progressed quietly. In the other path, awareness led to gradual adjustments, medical guidance was sought early, and supportive routines became daily commitments. The difference between those two futures begins with a single decision made today. Doctors do not simply diagnose, they educate. They understand that informed patients are empowered patients. When you choose to consult a doctor about early tingling or numbness, you are not admitting weakness, you are demonstrating wisdom. Early evaluation can uncover vitamin deficiencies, metabolic imbalances, or other underlying conditions that may be corrected before significant damage occurs. Waiting for pain to become unbearable is rarely the wisest strategy. Courage is not ignoring symptoms. Courage is addressing them with clarity and discipline. There is also a deeper philosophical layer to this journey. The body speaks in sensations long before it speaks in crises. Respecting those early whispers is a form of self-respect. It is an acknowledgement that your future mobility, balance, and independence are worth protecting. Many seniors fear losing autonomy more than anything else. They fear falling. They fear becoming dependent. They fear not being able to feel the ground beneath their feet. But fear alone does not preserve independence. Action does. Consistent strength training improves stability. Gentle stretching maintains flexibility. Anti-inflammatory nutrition reduces internal stress. Monitoring blood sugar protects tiny blood vessels that nourish nerves. Reducing exposure to harmful substances decreases cumulative burden. These actions, though simple, build resilience over time. And resilience is the true antidote to decline. The middle of life often teaches responsibility toward family and career. The later years require responsibility toward one's own health. It is not selfish to prioritize your well-being. It is essential. When your nerves function properly, you move confidently. When you move confidently, you remain active. When you remain active, you preserve muscle mass, bone density, and cardiovascular health. Everything is interconnected. The nervous system is not isolated. It influences and is influenced by every other system in the body. This is why the concept of a hidden toxin is so profound. It represents anything that slowly erodes this interconnected harmony. Sometimes that toxin is chemical. Sometimes it is nutritional neglect. Sometimes it is prolonged stress. Sometimes it is indifference. Removing toxins is not only about avoiding harmful substances. It is about removing destructive patterns. Replace indifference with awareness. Replace passivity with intention. Replace neglect with stewardship. Your body is not asking for perfection. It is asking for consistency. Every healthy choice becomes a message to your nerves that they are supported. Every disciplined habit becomes a vote for stability rather than decline. Aging does not have to mean surrender. It can mean refinement. It can mean becoming more deliberate, more conscious, and more protective of what truly matters. The truth is that you cannot control every environmental factor, but you can control your response. You can control your effort. You can control your willingness to seek guidance. You can control your daily routines. And over time, these controlled variables create measurable differences. This is not about eliminating all risk. It is about reducing unnecessary risk. It is about giving your nervous system the strongest possible foundation as the years progress. Remember that the most dangerous toxin is prolonged neglect of warning signs. Awareness transforms that danger into opportunity. Opportunity to change. Opportunity to protect. Opportunity to strengthen. The power to influence your nerve health is not reserved for medical professionals alone. It belongs to you through daily discipline and informed choices. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.